One of the big things that a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of successful people in general understand about themselves is they're not perfect. Back in 2011, I I was a little bit different person going into the new year. In fact, January 3rd, 2011, I was arrested for drinking and driving. I had just wrecked my car into a light pole. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. It was only like a block away from where I'd been, but it was pretty bad. I went to jail, spent time in jail overnight. Long story short, I got charged. Probably not as bad as I should have been charged. I had to go to meetings. Of course, my insurance goes up. I had a big fat fine to pay. My car was totally destroyed. I couldn't drive for 12 months. When I did drive again, I had to put a machine on my steering wheel. So it was pretty life changing. I'd been drinking for about, 11, 12 years since 2001. And so from the age of 20 to the age of 29, I hadn't quite turned 30 yet. It had been my whole life. And because of that, because I was drinking, not much really changed from the year 2001 to the year 2011. I was working as a waiter in 2001. I was working a waiter in 2011. No really strong relationships. I just started dating in 2010, the woman who'd eventually become my wife. But, with all the drinking and stuff, the relationship was pretty tenuous then. I knew for a long time that this was something I was going to have to change if I was ever going to achieve my goals. And unfortunately, I had to have what I call a post-traumatic success occurrence. I had to see what the other side was like. Jail is a pretty scary place if you've never been. I was sitting in there. I was alone. It was not comfortable. There was literally a crackhead taking a shit right next to me. And there was a bit of a culture, a lot of the people that were in there, they knew each other. They were, laughing about the fact they'd been arrested again. This was their life. This is common practice for them. So when I got out that morning, I made a decision. I'm going to change. I stopped drinking. I haven't had a drink since. And it's all been uphill from there. Now, of course, it takes a long time to climb back from that. I had to delete my Facebook because so many of my friends were in that bar and drinking scene. I had to walk everywhere because I didn't have a car or the ability to drive. So I ended up losing a lot of weight, and also, not drinking all the time helped me lose some weight. Started going to school, and in about a few months, I cleaned up my credit. And in fact, after about a year, I bought a house. And I got a job working for a Fortune 500 company, giving investment advice. So it's pretty crazy turnaround from being, a waiter for a decade to here's Dave, getting a job at a very prestigious company, giving people advice on how to handle their investments. So a little surreal there. I'd say about 6 to 12 months or so, I take a moment to look at myself and review the elements in my life, and of course my goals, my one things and the things that I want to accomplish. I take it all in and I review it and I try to figure out, where I am, where I want to be, and of course, what things are holding me back. So back in 2011, clearly drinking was holding me back. I had another pretty big event, life-changing event recently that, I recognized as something I had to change in my mom passed away in 2016, mostly through fault of her own. She had very poor health, diabetic, Crohn's disease, but she never changed her diet. She continued to eat candy and Doritos for meals. So at the age of 55, she passed away in her sleep. And, my diet wasn't much better. I mean, I ate a lot of junk food, I ate a lot of candy, stuff like that. So watching her pass away, said to me, okay, this is another one of those events. You have to change what you're doing or you're going to end up like this. This year, I've looked at some other things that I knew that I needed to change. So in addition to changing my diet, started exercising. I stopped drinking caffeine because it was affecting my mood. Been working on, tightening up finances. I mean, money's pretty good, but you can always do better. I've been working a lot harder on projects. I used to just kind of, especially with my Amazon business, a lot of free time. So spent a lot of that time napping and, reading books and stuff. But now, every day I'm getting up, make my bed first thing. And I work for 5 hours, answering questions on Quora, creating content. Then I pick my kid up and then I'm right back to it, and up until about 9 p.m. every night I'm working. So it's a constant review of me and who I am and saying, am I closer to where I want to be? And am I a better person today than I was yesterday? And being able to do that makes a huge difference because ultimately it has a compound effect. I'm consistently getting better and better. James Altucher, who wrote the awesome book, Choose Yourself, he has a 1% rule. If every day he's 1% better than who he was the day before, it starts to add up pretty quick. I mean, I think the rule of 72 is, if you start with something, the rule of 72 says, you take whatever percentage you're going to grow something by, and then you divide that into 72, and that's the length of time it takes to double. So if you're bettering yourself by 1% every day, then in 72 days, you're twice as good as you were when you started. Now that's a little extreme, but there's some truth to that. And when you really start learning and growing and becoming a better person, it's very easy to see things change pretty quick. So what I want you to do is to look at yourself, examine the things that are working, for one, just don't focus on the bad, but make sure not to forget the bad too. Focus on some of the things that you think you could change, and then look at your goals, look at your one thing. What are the things that are working, and realize, hey, you can double down on those. So for me, for example, I'm very good at writing, or at least I think so. So that's what I do. I do that all day long, tens of thousands of words every single day. And then what am I not good at? I wasn't good at eating healthy, and I wasn't good at, 7 years ago, I wasn't good at saying no to having a drink at a bar. So I changed those things. Do the same thing with yourself. Double down on what works. Change the things you can. And if you can't change certain things, step away from them. You can't change some of the people around you. So if you've got toxic relationships, it's okay to walk away from those. If they're the obstacle that's in your life. But, if it's something like your health or your diet and you are, not handicapped or, laying up in bed or anything like that, start making a change. Even if it's a 1% change, even if it's saying no to that extra candy bar at the store, or, eating a salad for a meal instead of a burger just one day, that 1% difference is going to make a difference as you go along. Do this every, 6 to 12 months, reassess, figure out where you need to be, focus again, make changes, and you'll be really surprised when you look back and you say, oh my God, 2 or 3 years ago, I was this totally different person, and now look where I am today. And celebrate too, celebrate the accomplishments, go on social media, go on Facebook, write a list of all the things that you've done since you've made this promise to yourself to change your life. I did this recently on Facebook, and it was awesome posting, point after point. This year I bought a house, I paid off my car, lost 20% of my body fat. I started another business, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Putting that list out there is awesome, and people are going to respond really well to it. So it'll make you feel better and make you want to continue doing the things that you want to do and help you get even closer to your one big thing.